marketing major here, option in professional sales. Hopefully everyone's having a good week. 2 days till the weekend. For less like myself and doing our Friday classes, we only got 1 to go. I'm here to talk about Chapter 4, Learning Objective 7, which is nonverbal communication, particularly describing and interpreting the different types. So you guys can get to know me a little bit better. I'm involved a lot around campus. I'm a admissions representative, an orientation leader, a member of MAPS, which, as you guys probably know, it's a marketing association at Plymouth State. And I'm also a student activities office assistant in the hub. So I'm sure you guys will see me a lot around campus. Where we're headed, I'm going to cover nonverbal communication by definition, briefly touch on the types of nonverbal communication for the sake of time, just briefly give a few examples, and then get more into proxemics and nonverbal clusters. And then I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. So if I could get someone to read the definition of nonverbal communication for me. I don't have a football to throw at you guys, so you got lucky. Nick, thanks.
The conscious and unconscious reactions, movements, and utterances that people use in relation to the words and symbols associated with language.
All right, thank you. So verbal communication deals with literally what is being said. Nonverbal communications deal with how that message is being delivered. In personal communication, 55% is nonverbal, so it's obviously more than half. And it shows how important that really is to understand how to deliver a message and also interpret how a message is being delivered to you. I don't have football once again, so you guys got lucky, but just out of what you guys know, could you guys name off some, yell them out, types of nonverbal communication that you guys might know? For example, vocal variations. What'd you say?
Eye contact.
Eye contact.
Or body language.
Perfect. Body language. Anything else?
Posture.
Posture, perfect. Posture placement. Yeah, so you guys got most of them. The proxemics, we're going to get into that later. That's personal space between you and another individual. And you guys basically covered the other ones. Actually, sorry, I'm going to go back to that, give a quick example. So when I'm giving admission tours, I can usually tell pretty well who's tuned out, who's tuned in, basically just from eye contact, body posture, and placement. And it's really important to understand, not only pick up on other people's nonverbals, but be careful and be aware of what nonverbal cues you're sending out. Because if you're not paying attention to that, it could be disrespectful at certain times. If you have your, shrugging your shoulders, or you're slouching, or you're just not paying attention, people pick up on it. It can be offensive to people. So proxemics, could I get one of you guys to read that definition? I know it might be kind of hard to see up there. Thanks, Dan.
The personal distance that individuals prefer to keep between themselves and other individuals.
Exactly. So there's 4 zones. Starts with intimate zone, which is, I got this figure from the book, so you guys can find this in your book. Intimate zone, 0 to 2 feet. And that's just like it sounds, intimate relationships, immediate family, loved ones. Then you have the personal zone, which is 2 to 4 feet. So that's like your close friends and people who you're close with at work. You're not going to be in this zone with everyone. Social zone, 4 to 12 feet. This is where the most business is conducted. So it's a lot where the business-client relationship takes place. And then public zone, which is beyond 12 feet. This setting, obviously I'm a little bit closer to you guys in the front row, but you guys in the back are well over 12 feet away from me. And once again, I'll use this as a great example for the nonverbals. As an admissions representative, when I'm going around giving tours, generally I'm somewhere between the social and public zone. The tours can be anywhere from 5 people with their parents to 30 people if it's an open house day. So it can vary with that, but also, for example, the last tour I gave, after I went out to the dining hall with 2 of the kids and their fathers, and we sat at the same table, and they asked me more personal questions, and so we're in that personal zone. And relating that to sales, the same thing can happen with sales. You build the trust up with your the buyer, rather, and you can gauge where they're comfortable in that zone. Some might be more comfortable in the social zone, and then some buyers might prefer to be in that personal zone. They feel maybe it's a more honest, close, and you can gauge that off of these nonverbals. And I'm going to talk about the nonverbal clusters after this, which can help you gauge and really get what they're trying to tell you or how they're feeling about something. So the nonverbal clusters, once again, if I get one of you guys to read those definitions for me just up top. Colleen?
These are groups of related nonverbal expressions, gestures, and movements that can be interpreted to better understand the true message being communicated.
Thank you. And also, before I forget, I wanted to mention something on that last slide. Once you gauge that with your customer or the buyer where they're comfortable, that could be something that you might include in a CRM of some sort, so that people going forward, or even yourself, if you have a lot of clients, you can understand where they're comfortable, because if you're too close or too far away from them, that could really throw off the sale and affect this positive outcome of your sale. So with nonverbal clusters, you don't want to just take one meaning or one verbal cue and assume that that's what it means. For example, walking down the hall, I ask someone how they're doing today, and they say, "Oh, I'm fine, thanks," and kind of shrug their shoulders. They might just be shy, or they might be implying that, "No, I'm really not fine, and I just can't believe you asked me that. I don't want to talk to you right now." So with nonverbal clusters, it can be important to pick up on a couple different cues. And I'm not going to get into all these. This is also in your book. It's on page 108. So if you guys want to look at that after, it just kind of gives different clusters. I'm going to talk about openness, for example. Some of the nonverbal cues: slight smile, good eye contact. Maybe if they're open, they're not closed, they're not have their arms right there. That would be openness, flexibility, sincerity. And I'm going to go on the opposite end of the spectrum there with boredom. Slouching, like I mentioned before, tapping feet, glancing at watch. We've all seen the blank stares and bored looks on people's faces, and that is associated with lack of interest and impatience. So with these nonverbal clusters, that's really what I picked up on being important. You want to pick up on the cues, but you also want to try and get what meaning they're trying to send that these nonverbal cues are not sending. So what we've covered, went over nonverbal communication by definition. We also went over briefly the types of nonverbal communication. Would have taken a lot longer to go over all of them, but your book's on pages 106 and 107 or 105, 106 give great examples and go in depth on these. Proxemics, which, like I said, personal distance between you and the other individuals. Expressions, gestures, and movements that are associated with these cues. And then, like I said, nonverbal clusters. So what was my first question? Any at all? Thanks, Dan.
You mentioned vocal variations. What would be an example of that?
All right, so vocal variations could be pitch. It could also be your rate of speed. So when a salesperson that talks a little bit faster is actually taken as credible, knowledgeable, and it shows that they know their stuff, and it also displays confidence. And also, if I'm talking much louder, then it can establish superiority, and that might, depending on what you want to do, that might help. In some settings, it also can maintain the interest or the attention of your crowd by varying the speed and also the pitch of your voice. Thank you. Mark?
Would you consider that like the tone, part of the chart that we have, the body language tone?
Oh, the 55, 38, 7%?
Yeah.
So are you saying, I think the pitch actually falls into that, or the pitch and tone might fall into 38%? I'm not positive.
Is that like a different category?
It does, yeah. So that the pitch and tone is into that 38%. So the 55 is in nonverbals, like literally as it sounds, not saying anything. And that 38% is where the vocal variations come in more.
Yeah.
Now, just real quick for you guys as a class, now I gave you guys that chance before, now we've gone over them. As a class, could you guys go over the different types of nonverbals? Just shout them out, just looking to cover them all, kind of drill them in your
Body
head.
language.
Eye contact.
Eye contact,
Posture.
posture, a couple other ones. Yeah, so that's basically it, and thanks guys. Oh, another question?
How long did it take you to make this presentation?
This is actually the first time I've used Prezi, so it probably took a little bit longer to get used to it. I actually had like another day to touch it up a little bit because I was supposed to go on Monday, so in all probably an hour and a half or so, but wanted to switch it up a little bit.
It looks awesome.
Thank you.
So what do you guys think? What do you observe? Obviously, a different format. Did that keep your attention? Yeah. What else?
Well prepared.
Very well prepared. Yeah. What else?
Spoke clearly.
Yeah.
Knowledgeable.
Knowledgeable. Yeah. What else?
Kept us involved.
Comfortable. Kept us involved. Yeah.
Good examples.
Thank you. Home run right there. He kept going back as a tour guide and giving us really solid examples. Outstanding job on the examples. How did he open? That was kind of unique.
Stretch.
Yeah. Okay. So I've already got okay. And then right after that, what was the slide? A little bit more about
Him.
personal about him. Warming. You guys can warm up to him. Oh, you know a little bit more about him now as a presenter. Those are all great techniques. One thing you could do differently next time. I do it all the time.
Spoke like fast.
Yeah. So you took 2 pages out of Professor Nato's book. Stand up and then speak fast. So, but great job. Well done. Thank you.